Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. I have some special people with me here today, NDA teachers, and they're going to introduce themselves in a moment, but we wanted to welcome you all to this panel. We are assembled here today to give you a little bit of information about not only NDA, but our teachers themselves and what they do, what they teach, and how they teach at Notre Dame Academy. So, guests, if you could please introduce yourself, that would be fantastic.
Thanks, Ms. White. I'm Mr. Clear. I have been at Notre Dame Academy for 5 years now. I'm the Student Learning Commons Coordinator, and within that, I work with our students taking online classes for their independent study classes. I work with them during their self-directed learning periods, and I also coordinate online research and resources for our students. And additionally, I'm coach of our academic decathlon team.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Mr. LeBron and I teach Algebra 1, Geometry, and Honors Geometry. And this is my 21st year here at Notre Dame Academy.
Go Ron. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mr. Guardado. I go by Mr. G on campus. I am the Director of Innovation across both campuses, but here at the high school, I teach a rocketry and robotics class as well as a program called our Disruptive Innovation Institute. So I teach that alongside with one of my colleagues, and we introduce girls to what innovation looks like in the 21st century.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Ms. Higgins, and I am the Algebra 2 teacher. I also teach physics, and I'm the STEM coordinator for Notre Dame Academy. And this is actually my first year at Notre Dame. I'm brand new to Notre Dame Academy, and I'm very, very happy to be here.
Well, thank you all. And if I haven't met you yet, my name is Michelle White, Miss White on campus. I am the Director of Admissions. I am also a proud alum of the class of 1996, Go Purple, and here today to help moderate this panel and help you get to know some of our faculty.
To me, this is the easy one. It's the girls. It's the girls in front of me. I've always had the good fortune of getting them when they're right out of middle school. You know, they're just entering high school, so they kind of have that deer in the headlights kind of look to them when they first meet me, and they don't really know what to make of me. Some of them are a little bit intimidated, but as time goes by, they really get to know who I am, and there's just such a great relationship that we have. And I also teach some of them their sophomore year. So by the time they leave me and they become juniors and seniors, I can really see them grow and develop as young ladies. And that's it for me. That's the whole reason why I'm here, just to see them progress from freshman year to senior year. And then when they leave school, to just know that they're just going to be really great in our community, and that's what I love about it. It's the girls. It's all about the girls. But also, I have to also give kudos to my colleagues because I mean, all the years that I've been here, I've always been part of a great team, and you know, I mean, some of us come and some of us go. A few of us stay a few years, but it doesn't really matter because it's that core teaching, the people that I'm with. I just love it. It's just so great to be with this group of people, both adults and students. And I can't think of anything else that would make me happier.
Thank you.
Ron, right back at you. It's I agree. The colleagues here on campus are one of the great aspects of our community. And I'm going to second that. The girls are really what make this place special. Another thing that I'd like to add, the administration here is really supportive of the work that we do. The school is committed to 21st century learning. Just the fact that we have a director dedicated to innovation and innovative learning, I think is something that sets the school apart. And it was one of the things that drew me to this campus and to this job when I came on board 2 years ago.
Thank you, Mr. Bedardo. Ms. Higgins or Mr. Clear, your absolute favorite thing about NDA?
I love that I am surprised each and every day I show up on campus. Sometimes people think school, just subjects and the same thing over and over again. I can show up on campus thinking the day is going to go one way and it will go a completely different way. And that's surprising and exciting to me. Whether it's presenting on research and students coming up with the sharpest questions that might be like college level questions, really, working with seniors on their college applications and learning things about their life and the things that they share, their stories are just surprising and amazing to me. And then I have a story. I was just working with my academic decathlon students, and we were looking at an abstract expressionist painting from Japan, and they were coming up with the deepest and sometimes most off-the-wall interpretations of this painting, and they were supporting it, and they were talking about the colors, and is it sumo wrestlers or is it dancers, and is this does it have a tone of passion or a tone of peace? And it was the most amazing discussion that they basically held with themselves, and I sat back and watched, and I never expected that.
One of the things that I have been very impressed by is how committed our students are. At my last school, that was not especially the case. And as I came in to start to get to know the girls of Notre Dame, I was immediately impressed with the amount of outreach that they had with me as a teacher, asking me questions, following up. Oh, Ms. Higgins, I'm so sorry. I didn't get that assignment in, but here it is. It's just a day late. I really just wanted to make sure that you know that I wanted to do this assignment. And so please accept it, even if you're going to take points off, right? Things like that, where you really see that what they are striving for is excellence, right? Daily and all of them, right? And you can tell that it's the kind of thing that is maybe led more strongly by some girls, but is really very much a feeling across all of the girls, even if not every student is an A student, which is fine, that they are all really committed and that they are putting in everything that they have into their classes, which for me has been absolutely marvelous as a teacher. And also, as you see them interacting with each other, you see that there's never somebody who's a dead weight that's dragging down the other girls, which is something that's very unusual, especially in the high school setting.
I'd like to add something that comes to mind when I think of the young women I work with is they are empowered. At this community, they are empowered, they are motivated, they speak up, they share their beliefs, they all have a really solid moral compass. So they stand up for what they believe. And I think that paired with their education, it makes them just kind of an unstoppable force. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to see such strong young women.
I'll give you a great example of that. Of course, it is impressive to see this, how they really do speak up and act about the things they care about in general. But I was also really impressed with a moment of advocacy that one of the students shared in my class, because I always have them do quiz corrections. So after they do a quiz, they take any questions that they got wrong and they figure out what they did wrong and they correct it and they submit those corrections, because it's a very powerful learning experience also to prepare them for the test. But it's something that I do sort of on principle. Like, I know it's good for them, so I make them do it. And as the overachievers that many of them are, they were like, so wait, are we going to get points back for this? And I was like, no, it's just good for you. And that was the end of it. Until I got a message from one of the students.
Yeah.
And she wrote the most articulate defense for why it really would be worthwhile, not only for me to give some points back for them doing these corrections, but how it would be a motivating factor and that it really fit in with my philosophy of mastery, right? That if they are showing that they have developed a better understanding of the material, which is what I always tell them is what I care most about, then really it would make sense for me to give them the points back. And I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. And so I actually changed my course policy that if they submitted very complete and very correct quiz corrections, that they could get some points back on their quiz grade. And that was 100% due to student advocacy, which I thought was, and it was pretty early in the year as well. So for me as a new teacher, I was like, all right, this is the kind of girl I'm dealing with. This is excellent. It was excellent.
To me, the NDA girl is defined by dedication. It's all about dedication. It's dedication to herself and how she conducts herself. Just her dedication to her academics, her dedication to her classmates, to all of the other people here at Notre Dame Academy. Just complete and total dedication to the school, the community, everything. I mean, that to me, that's what it is. And just to share a story with you, this goes back to Catherine Rajpana, who is an alum, class of 15. She was in my class, my honors geometry class, as a freshman. Unfortunately, I only had her for 1 year. Because after my class, she just blew my class away, and she was off and running, and she never looked back. But when I think of dedication, I really think of her because I remember before she came to school, it was the summer before she started her freshman year, and I was here and I was working because I was teaching summer school at the time. And here came in this little, 14-year-old, and she came in and she knocked on the door and she says, "Excuse me, are you Mr. LeBron?" And I said, "Yes, I am. Can I help you?" She says, "Yes, I'm Catherine Rajpana, and I'm going to be in your honors geometry class this fall." And I said, "Oh, that's great. So what brings you here? Are you here to, look around the school?" And she says, "Yeah, kind of, but I'd also like to ask you a question. What do I need to be successful in your class?" And I just like fell on the floor. I'm just thinking, wow, and that to me is the NDA girl. I mean, they just come at you and they're like, I want to be as successful and the best person that I can be. And that's it right there. That's why I say the NDA girl to me, dedication.
I am a new teacher. I have been part of this community for not even 3 months. And I can say that in addition to, I guess the manifestation of that dedication that you're talking about, Michelle, for me has been in the absolute welcoming spirit, the support that I have as a teacher have found, and how in every single event, for lack of a better word, every single encounter that I've had with my colleagues and as a school, I have felt the coherency with the NDA and its mission and vision and values. And it started from my interview to the first meeting that we had as new faculty and how we were introduced to the mission and vision of the school, to the encounters that I had with our faculty and our beginning of year professional development, which was all online. And yet I had people reaching out, introducing themselves to me, offering to answer the questions that I may have. All of that because I was new and because they wanted me to feel welcome. And then I have to say that, so the big in-person event that we've had this year so far has been NDA Day, right? That normally is this thing that we have on campus that is, I know, inexpressible, right? The whole idea is that you don't really understand it until you've experienced it. And then this year, it, of course, due to all of the circumstances that are going on, couldn't be the way that it normally is. And so instead, we had this drive-through parade where all of the teachers were in the parking lot, the students drove through with their masks on, and I was at a booth that had gift bags for every single student. And we had a prayer service at the beginning of all of this to celebrate our heritage, because that's the point of NDA Day, to celebrate the women who have been part of the founding of this school. And I was so moved both by the prayer service and by the event and the incredible feeling of excitement and family and community and togetherness that was present in that I have been blown away by every single encounter that I have had at NDA, to see that it's not just, marketing on the website, it's not just text and document, but that every person here is really living in very, very visible ways, very feelable ways, the mission of NDA.
I think what I'm about to speak to is very appropriate for these times, because what I've noticed in being a part of this community is that it always reaches outward and then comes back in. And what I mean by that is, I believe that all the members of the community, what they do is they go out, they reach out, and they always are helpful to people that are outside the community. Okay, it's almost like an outreach program. And I say this when I think of things like when Christian service hours. I mean, these kids are going out there and they're helping total strangers, people they don't know. And I think that is such a strong core value of our Catholic identity. We got to go out there and we have to help those that are most needy. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because we are in a situation right now, a current situation, where that's needed more than anything else. And I think that this school is a model for that. And the people that are a part of this community are a model for that kind of outward growth, outward reach, and help. And I mean, I see nothing but our caring and our love, and I'll say the word again, our dedication, not only to ourselves as a community, but to the community outside of Notre Dame Academy. And I mean, I just, when we give the Christian Service Awards and somebody's up on stage and they're saying, okay, this is how many hours she gave, and this, I mean, the total number of hours it's mind-boggling how much we care about people we don't even know. And to me, that's what being Catholic is all about. And then when I say we bring it back in, is we get so many great visits from our alums, and they come in and they share with us what they've done in the community. And it's just wonderful to hear the stories and the successes that they've had. And sometimes they have failures, but I mean, just the love that they bring with them back to NDA. I mean, that's just something that's great.
Oh, I just wanted to quickly add that one of the things that I think is so wonderful about the NDA community is its diversity. I mean, you walk down the hall and really you're met with just such a diverse group of girls. It's been a pleasure to work with a really diverse group of faculty and staff. And I think it's a reflection of the city that we live in, and more importantly, of the country that we live in. And it's a small microcosm, but it's a really lovely experience to be able to walk down the hall and just meet people and talk to girls from really all walks of life.
And thank you for mentioning that, because we have a very diverse community, and it's another beauty in the place. Our girls currently right now come from 78 different zip codes. Wow. And I always say every girl is here, right? So the artist, the painter, the athlete, the actress, the politician, they're all here. Every race, right? Every color. There are over 78 zip codes. That is a lot of city, right? And all of those girls are here. So diversity is also one of the things that we do well. And Mr. Clear, I think you were trying to get in there and I cut you off.
Okay. As far as community, it's my 5th year here. And what drew me in was the kindness and the caring that we've talked about. I mean, genuine questions. How are you today, Mr. Clear? Curiosity about well-being of the students, one to the other, to the teachers. I mean, they know my dog's name. They know I walk to school and walk home. They will pull their car over, make their parent pull the car over. Do I need a ride somewhere? And that was kind of the first thing I noticed was just the giving and the kindness and, what we talked about with the service. But then over time, I grew to realize it was so much more than that dedication, that kindness and caring, and what Mr. Guardado was talking about with the diversity, it brings a complete strength to this place and to this community. This is a very strong community. Staff helping each other, teachers helping teachers, students helping teachers, graduates returning. Catherine Rajpana graduated 5 years ago. Every year she reaches out to me, do you need help with your academic decathlon team this year? Students come back and they want to know, can they help? Can we connect with students who are going to go to the school we're at to help mentor them? It's an amazing strength that comes from all of these things.
My philosophy is, well, I mean, basically it's, especially when you're dealing with math, you got to try it. You got to be willing to take those risks. I always tell my students, if it doesn't work out, nothing bad's going to happen. You just get up and you try it again. It's kind of like, if you fall off your bike, you dust yourself off and you get back on. Okay. So, my philosophies come in the form of things like, perseverance. You have to keep trying. Having that grit of not giving up, of keep doing it, keep going at it, keep doing it, and eventually you'll get it, and you'll get better. So that's kind of my philosophy, is basically give it a shot. Keep trying, nothing bad is going to happen. You're just going to learn, and that's what we're all about.
I'll add on to that because I also teach math. And teaching math to girls sometimes is, I consider it a special thing. Because what I continually encounter is that girls tend to think that they often fall into two camps, not universally, by either I'm bad at math or I'm good at math, but that means that as soon as I stop getting A's, then I'm no longer good at math, right? And the ones who think they're bad at math, like that started happening in like middle school or something, and that's then why they think they're bad at math. And so my philosophy for teaching, and especially in teaching math, is based really very solidly on growth mindset. And I know that's a little bit of a buzzword in education now, but part of the reason that I came to NDA was because of the NDA's focus on growth mindset, because I make it a very, very explicit part of my class. My students actually take a course with Stanford Online where they learn specifically about growth mindset as applied to math, and understanding specifically that struggle doesn't mean you're bad at something. Struggle is the only thing that is valuable and that will help you learn anything. And that I have some norms in my math classroom, things like speed is not important, mistakes are valuable, creativity and communication and connecting ideas are the most important part of math, right? And so my philosophy for math, for teaching in general, but I find it especially helpful in math, is that focus on helping the girls get beyond whether or not it's hard and get beyond just shooting for the A, to really just focus on, right, what I can learn here, right? And it has so much to do with what Mr. LeBron is saying. It does require perseverance, but an openness to not base your identity on your success or your failure in class, right? Which for girls tends to happen a lot. And it makes it very hard for them to then encounter moments in life that will entail failure, because we know that failure comes at some point in your life, right? And so to empower them to see that growth and the positive nature of struggle. And then the other thing that is very much part of my teaching philosophy is the idea of mastery. That what we're going for is not just to turn through the problems, but to actually really learn something, to be able to use it, right? And in science, this comes into play a lot in science as well, because I also have found that if girls don't understand the reason why they're learning something, then they do not care. they really do not care. They want to know that they're going to be able to use this for themselves, to help someone in the real world. And so in science, it's really about connecting to the real world and seeing how this will apply to your future career, how this actually, you can look around and see it in action. And that is why we want to master it. And that it's not about the grade. It's about how much I've learned and how exciting learning can be when you approach it in that way.
Yes. Well
Yeah.
said.
I'd like to add, the curriculum that I teach in the robotics and rocketry class and the disruptive innovation course is very different from a lot of the core classes that are taught on campus. And we use a philosophy called design thinking, and it's more of a methodology that's applied in a lot of different fields and as now being used in education. But the idea behind design thinking is you find a problem, right? And you need to find a solution to that problem. And the first step in the process is empathizing and figuring out who you're designing for, whose problem are you trying to solve? And from there, you create a prototype or an idea that's going to solve that problem, and you test it, and then you do research, and you kind of reiterate, and you go through this cycle over and over again until you feel satisfied that you've come to a solution. And we apply it to robotics. We fail a lot, and failing is awesome because it teaches our girls to, Mr. LeBron, to your point, right, to have that grit, to be able to have the resilience to try again. So we participate in a competition every year, and we don't always do great, but the girls walk away with experiences, and all of them always walk away wanting to do better. And the same can be said to the disruptive innovation course, where we look at real world problems and we try to find solutions, right? We want these girls to be the change makers, the agents of change for tomorrow. So.
Yeah. I'll just add quickly on that. I have in the past taught engineering, which is also a subject that I hope to bring to NDA. And the way that I've always taught engineering is along the lines of design thinking, but very specifically person-centered design. That this is not just an abstract problem, but this is a problem that someone has. This is a need that someone has. And so in doing things like science, like engineering, like math, what we're doing is we're serving people. And that tends to be something that really resonates with the girls in a special way. And it is what helps them be inspired to do science and to move on in STEM fields. And as the STEM coordinator, that's a big part of what I want them to have exposure to in opening up their understanding of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics as fields where you're helping people, and that I get to bring all of my creativity, that it's not just shrugging through problems, it's not just memorizing facts about biology, but that it's this incredibly diverse, creative, challenging, but worthwhile field to get into.
Well said. And how about you, Mr. Clear?
This is such a big and, in a way, tough question to talk about your teaching philosophy. And so I think about myself as a teacher, as a resource for our students. I want to, help them with skills and to know new things, but really underneath it is I want them to see and to act on what they already have inside of them. And it is that empowerment that we've talked about before. It is for them to trust themselves and to have this confidence. And sure, we have, there's for academic decathlon, things like that. I can teach them things, I can teach them research skills, but I can't teach them like curiosity. And I can maybe nudge them and point them at confidence and things like that. But I try to really get them to see what they already have inside of them. Our academic decathlon students, they have to stand up in a room full of strangers and give a 4-minute speech without any notes and be judged by these total strangers. Then they're done. The judges say, thank you. Step over to this table to your right. There are 3 topics there. You have 1 minute to prepare an entirely new speech and present it to us. They don't know these topics in advance. And they have to find the fortitude within themselves to deliver their rehearsed speeches and then to turn around and on the spot craft an entirely new speech. And again, deliver it to a room full of strangers, knowing we're going to be judged on this, and they're scoring us. And it's to get them to see that you can do this. It's inside of you. You can practice, but it's also like reaching inside yourself and bringing this out of you and feeling that power and strength within yourself. And it's hard to describe that philosophy, but I want to be that sort of catalyst for them.
Perfect. And I would add, I don't teach, but I do moderate Queen's Council. And Queen's Council is the ambassador group of the school. They are the young women you see in the white sweaters working our admissions events and pretty much any event on campus where we have guests and visitors. And my philosophy in leading them, guiding them, instructing them is what I always tell them is 2 words, do you. So my philosophy kind of piggybacks yours, Mr. Clear, and I'm always trying to get them to be their best selves, whatever that is for them, and always reminding them to be fully themselves and helping them to be comfortable in their own skin and be fully themselves, right? So not trying to be fully what the young lady next to you is, or not trying to be what you see someone being on social media or what you see on television or what you see in a movie, but being truly, fully, authentically yourself. Because when you're doing that, that voice comes, that self-advocacy comes, that chasing dreams and trying out new passions come, because you're just being fully yourself. So that's the philosophy I have when working with the girls, and they will tell you. If you ask them, what does Miss White always say? I say, do you. So don't do me, don't do that girl, don't do the girl, so do you. Whatever that is, do it, but do it well.
We work with modern 21st century young women who, are ready to break into these STEM fields that are, dominated by males. They are well aware of that, and all of them are dedicated. My robotics team here on campus, they were ready to go in there and show every boy at those robotics tournaments that they could do it 10 times better. And just that mindset, that drive, is one of the things that always just impresses me so much about the NDA girls. That resilience, that kind of self-awareness, that isn't taught. You learn that, you learn that through experiences and through growth. And so many of them have that, and it's incredible to see it. So they are tough young women. I'm excited. I think about it and I'm like, wow, I'm so excited for my future. If these are the young women that are going to be, running our country and our companies in the future, I am good.
Be ready for my friendliness and my kindness and my approachability, but then also be ready for me to push you. And I will announce that, and I will let you know, like, you're good so far, but I'm gonna challenge you, so be ready for this. You may not have to pull this off tomorrow, but next week I'm gonna be coming at you with something. So be ready for it. So I think, I love you, I care for you, but be ready, because you're going to get pushed, and I'm going to not be satisfied with certain things, but you'll know, and we'll get there. So I'll be kind, but I'm coming for you too.
And he's all over that stage too, let me tell you. He's all over that stage too. And there's a video link on our virtual open house page of one of our NDA Day teacher skits, where you will see both of those teachers dancing away on the stage. So be sure to click the NDA Day teacher skit on the open house page and watch everyone dance. So Mr. Godardo, Ms. Higgins, any tip for success in your class or your classes for our incoming freshmen?
Yeah, I would say come with an open mind. Come with an open mind and be ready to fail. And I don't mean like fail grades, but get ready to try something, maybe not be the best at it the first time, and then just try it again. I love to have fun. So failing has never been more fun. So if you hang out with me in the Innovation Lab, I promise we will break things in here. We will rebuild them, all while listening to music and hanging out. Collaboration is incredibly important to me. I'm not only your teacher, I am your co-collaborator. And I think that's, it's always been part of my practice. And if I'm able to collaborate with you, then you're able to collaborate with your peers a lot better. So yeah, come in here and get ready to work together to make some cool things.
Thank you. And Ms. Higgins?
So I don't teach freshmen, so you'll have to wait a little bit to get to me. But what I'll say is be prepared to embrace the struggle that very often comes, especially with math, but also with the STEM subjects in general. But more than anything else, never, ever, ever be afraid to ask for help, because the only time that any of my students have ever gotten to the point where they could not do well, it was only 100% because they couldn't get themselves to come and ask for help. And I am so available for help that it's kind of outrageous, and you'd be amazed how far you can go if you just get that little extra help. And so never be afraid to ask, because all of us here, all we want is your success and your happiness. And that's why we're here. We wouldn't be high schooler teachers if it weren't for that. Right? There's a lot of good reasons not to be a high school teacher, but the good reason to be a high school teacher is that, and that's why we're here. And so ask for help, and ask for help often, and never be afraid of your teachers, because we're here for you.
I know, I can tell you right now, you can't do it alone. You know, you know, the old saying, it takes a village. Well, for us, it takes a community. And that's why we're here, because we're here for each other. And since I've started here, I've just learned that nobody succeeds alone, you know, and that's what's so great about Notre Dame Academy. We have a great support system. You know, your classmates, your fellow students, girls that are older than you, especially for you incoming freshmen. That's going to be so important. You're going to be amazed by how much support you're going to get from the upper class women. Your teachers, you know, non-teachers, faculty, staff, support. The support system is just great. Your parents, the families, everything. You know, all I can say is we've got your back, and that's what's going to be the key to your success here and beyond. When you become the girl on the other side, is how much we really need each other, and how much we depend on each other and support each other and love each other, because that's what Notre Dame Academy means to me. So my tip is to just remember, you can never do it alone. And being at Notre Dame Academy, you never will be alone, because we'll always be here for you.
I'll say that I think the most important thing that you can learn from high school is that perfectionism is a false god, and that failure does not define you. Because it is very easy to go through life worried about proving yourself, and that is not a good way to go through life. It's a way of going through life that causes a lot of pain and anxiety and a lot of unhappiness. And so if instead you can really see what your value is built on, and that it's not those things, then you'll go through life continuing to grow and be very happy and flourish in a lot of ways that will benefit you and the people around you.
Yeah, I'll say I think the biggest, the most important lesson that I try to instill onto my students is the importance of communication. Communication is key, and learning to build soft skills is not only beneficial to you in high school, but through college and through your future career paths. Soft skills are important. When communication breaks down, then you have disagreements. then turmoil happens. So if you can learn to communicate with one another, with those that are above you, right? Authority figures like your teachers, staff, your parents. It just makes life that much easier, and you'll be that much more successful if you're able to express how you feel and do it in a productive way.
For me, the most important lesson for our students to learn is to get down to the lunch line quickly, because Chef Mark's potato fries go very quickly and they're quite delicious.
Very
So
true.
get to those sweet potato fries from Chef Mark as soon as you can. You know, the most important lesson for our students is the one I try to give myself every day. And I don't want it to sound cheesy or whatnot, but it's don't worry about yesterday and don't worry about tomorrow. Like, amazing things happen here every day. And if you are present, and if you are looking at what's in front of you and listening intently to your classmates and your teachers and making sure to check in on each other and check in with yourself, high school, honestly, it can go by so quickly. And you should soak up every minute of it and just to be present for each day and start each day anew. And you're gonna fall down and you're gonna pick yourself back up. But it's so many great things happen here today, and I would hate for them to miss it. And just be as present as you can, and just soak it up.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Clear, you stole mine, so I'm just going to add a few more sentences onto it. That was truly going to be my advice about the most important lesson, is that high school is high school, and you really want to be in the moment and enjoying it and present. High school is not a gateway to college. So you don't want to enter high school from the moment you get there just thinking about college. What classes do I want to take to get to a college? What is going to be on my transcript for college? What VPA credit should I take for college? If you're so consumed with getting to college, you're completely missing the high school experience. And at NDA, it is truly an experience. And you really want to enjoy the traditions, the classes, the girls, the spirit, the sisterhood, the academics, the sports. There's so many things to enjoy that if you're just here as a gateway to college, it's going to pass you by like that, and you will not have had the high school experience. So as a student here, you're going to get to college. 100% of the young women that graduate from this school are accepted to a 4-year college. So if you're coming to NDA, that's going to happen. All you will figure out is where are you going to apply and where will you end up going to college. But if you're here with us for 4 years, be here every day. Don't just be worried about college, because college is there and you're going to go. But really be in the experience so that all of the things that you've heard on this panel, that you'll get to experience, you'll get to enjoy. So we thank you so much for taking the time to get to know us a little bit better and get to know a little bit more about these teachers and their classes. So thank you so very much for taking the time.